Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, various genders from across the world, welcome to the world-famous Packcast, brought to you by the Wicked Wolves Gaming. I hope you're doing well. It's lovely to see you. A week has gone by. It has flown by, but it is always the last day of the week, the Sunday, that brightens up my week, simply because I get to talk to the wonderful gaming world that is out there. So, before we continue, I would like to tell you that the topic we will be talking about is very interesting. I want my fellow viewers to be ready, to be prepped to talk about it. If you don't know already, we will be talking about video games that were made into movies, and we can also talk about the backwards as well, from videos that were made into video games, as it were. So those are an interesting topic. I think will be very interesting to see people's opinions on various video games that were turned into movies, etc., their opinions in the movies as well. But before we continue, I'm not doing that alone. So firstly, I would like to introduce my co-host. He is a Scotsman. He goes by the name Scott. I'd like to welcome Captain Toothless. Captain, where are you?
Hello there, Zivair. How are you doing this afternoon?
I am doing well. Thank you very much, Captain. How are you?
Brilliant. Just thankful to be co-hosting with you this week.
Yeah, it was awesome to see you chatting with us for the last couple of times. So I thought, why not? Let's bring you up into the co-host seat. So thank you very much for joining me as the co-host. What I'd like to do is, we already have seen you the past couple of times, but just to give another introduction for people who may have missed out on you, tell us a little bit about yourself. Go right ahead.
Awesome, guys. So, hello, I am Captain Toothless, also better known as Scott. I have a new title this week. I am now known as the UK Regional Comp Manager. I have happy days. For those that can't remember, I'm a massive BR kind of guy, so Battle Royales, your Apex, your Fortnite. Currently grinding Warzone on the one and only God console, which is PS4. You're welcome, Zubair. And yeah, that's all you really need to know about me just now.
Fair enough. That's awesome. Thank you very much for that introduction. Tell me a little bit about, I don't think we've ever discussed your personal life. Are you married? Do you have kids? Is there any jobs that you're doing? Well, we discussed a little about your history about the name. Yeah. But, or is it a sensitive topic? Is it a gamer topic that we can't talk about it?
I mean, we definitely talk about it. It's a scary thought having kids. But no, I'm 26 years young, although I don't feel like it. I am recently engaged back in January to my partner of 2 years. I know, thank you. We met together at an outdoor activity centre that we both worked at. We decided back in October to get back to our normal lifestyle because working 7 days a week isn't fun. So we moved back to my hometown, which is lovely Gretna Green. We started renting a house together back in February. We moved in then, and we've got 2 little small dogs. One's a jack shit, which is always fun to say, and one is a chorky, and they're probably just as bad or as equal to kids.
No, they're not. But I genuinely was thinking, wait a minute, you said you don't have any kids, and you said 2 little, and I thought, wait, what? Oh. But then he said out to be dogs, so that's okay. Thank God for that. The world is safe. Okay, so
she brings beers on the stream. She's an absolute legend. Shout out to Mrs.
He's a Scotsman. He has to have beer when he's. It's either brew or beer. He has to be doing something or the other, drinking one or the other. Okay, never water. Water is not good for a Scotsman. They will shrivel up and die. So the next thing to move on to, Captain, what I'd like you to do is, because you are my honorable co-host this week, I would like you to introduce our guests. Please continue.
Yeah. Fantastic. So the first guest that is coming on the world famous Packcast, we have our gamer gal, Amy, who is the video development manager. Hello, Amy.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. So let's let the Packcast know a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So as you said, I'm the video development manager. Recently changed that name, so got me there.
Having difficulty saying the name.
I edit. Mainly work with the YouTube side of things, though I've been dabbling into social media as well. Joined the Wolves back in November time. So been here a while. Yeah, and same as you two, PS4 is king. And the
power to Sony, homies. Power to Sony. Yeah.
Spyro's the one for me, though. That's my favorite game.
Oh, you were so close. You were so close.
I know it was. I knew it'd be controversial because the last episode it was Crash versus Spyro.
It was Crash versus Spyro. Well, at least you won't be alone on this cast. We'll leave you alone. You poor. Oh, we got to call the mental doctor if someone likes Spyro. Okay, never mind. But tell us, aside from Spyro, what other type of games is it that you like to play? Do you like to stream yourself?
I don't currently stream. No, I like watching streamers.
Okay.
It was a very interesting experience yesterday with Captain Toothless's stream. So,
tell. Pray tell.
Well, as you were saying, the Scots like to drink, so they're having a nice little drinking sesh, playing some Warzone. So I thought, why not? I'll give him a view, see what's going on. And one of his buddies got a bit too thirsty for me, and it was a bit. There's a clue in the name. Oh, there's a clue in the name. But
oh yeah,
I'll let him believe. I'll say I'm flattered, but
oh, anyone out there? Gamer girl Amy is out of your league. Get out of here. She is ours. She's a wicked wolf. Do not touch her, or we will bite back. All right, unless she allows it, but then we will step back. And I've just made this awkward. So sorry, Amy. Captain, please introduce the next person before it gets weirder. Go ahead.
100%. Okay, guys. So the next person joining the Packcast is one of our content creators. It is Ashton Lux. Ashton Lux, are you there, bud?
Hi there. How's it going?
Hello, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So, same as Amy, why don't you tell the Packcast a little bit about yourself?
Hi there. I'm a content creator for the Wicked Wolves. I've just started like a month ago, fairly new, but I'm working hard and I play a lot of like RPG games, horror games. That's my sort of area.
Awesome. Cool. So what's your favorite horror game to play just now?
Ooh, I'm playing Outlast at the moment and I'm really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying it.
Ooh, scary.
I've heard a lot about Outlast. I got to try the game. Is it on PlayStation, guys?
It is indeed, yeah.
Awesome.
That's in fact where I play it.
Another PlayStation.
Oh my god!
Xbox people are signing off right now. We don't want to watch this, guys. Name some games. So, how long have you been playing PlayStation then?
A long time, like since the PS1 days, since my childhood. Like,
wow, same like me. Yeah. Awesome. So, but do you game on the PC as well, or is it just purely PlayStation?
I do indeed. I do. Pretty much both. I've got them both right down here, actually.
Yeah. You know how I figured that out? The nature of your flipping headphones. Because your hair's so big, we can't see the cat ears. No way would an honest-to-God PlayStation dedicated football put cat ears on their head. Come on. No. Move your headphone forward. Everyone has to see the cat ears. Come on. Don't be shy. You bought them for a reason. What's the point of having cat ears if you're going to hide behind the fro? What's the matter with you?
Hey, they offered them and I got them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they offered them for $59.99 and I got them for $59.99. Oh, geez, Louise. I love the color too. Green's one of my favorite. Well done, mate. So you're in my good books. Well done. So, just like I bugged Captain for the pirate life, give a little bit about yourself. I mean, tell us outside of gaming, do you have a life? It's very rare for gamers to have a life outside of games, but go ahead.
I do a lot of interesting things, like I cosplay in my spare time and go to conventions and all that. Yeah.
Whoa. Cosplay.
Yeah,
I mean, I got the vibes.
He's got the ears, right? I mean, what do you cosplay as? Don't tell me like an anime girl. I mean, because then we're gonna have a problem. You do.
Naruto.
Who's that?
Naruto.
Ah.
Oh, Naruto. Okay, then we can forgive you. Naruto is acceptable. Yes, and we have to see pictures. You do realize this. You have to share them in Discord afterwards.
Yeah, I'll have to do that. Yeah.
And we won't find fun at all. No. Can you do Nier Automata? Go on, B2B.
Oh no.
There are some people out there who don't know what we're talking about. It'll be our private secret. Sorry. So, well, it's lovely to see you, Ashton Lux. Thank you for joining the cast. Captain, introduce our final guest.
So, our final guest is probably one of the fan favorites that's out there. We have got our USA across the pond, across the water, our USA comp regional manager. It is the one, the only bearded Viking. How are you doing, sir?
Hello. How's it going?
Not too bad, sir. How's life this morning?
Life is really good. It's sunny. It's warm. And PS4 is God.
Yeah.
In this chat.
PS4.
It's beautiful. Let's just say a little bit about myself. As you said, I'm the new U.S. Regional Comp Manager. Just took the position yesterday. I'm excited to do it. And I'm also an IGL for the Overwatch PS4 team. Games I play, Overwatch, all the hard games. I know, right? Shocking.
IGL for Overwatch, and you play Overwatch? What's going on?
I know.
Go on.
You would have never thought. I like the hard games, Dark Souls, Bloodborne. We talked about that last week.
We talked about that, yes. And your particular hobbies. In case somebody didn't hear last week, could you tell us that hobby that made me say that makes sense? Go ahead.
Making primitive tools, like stone axes and stuff like that.
Awesome.
My God, ladies and gentlemen, it's exactly as it sounds. He goes out there and gets rocks and smashes them together to make an axe and a knife and stuff like that. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Next time you go, you got to take pictures first so we can see that shit.
Yeah, I actually, you know what? When you asked me if I had anything, I do have a hammer. It's just a big stick here, but it looks like a big club, but it's a hammer, right? To smack the.
Right. You just found a rock. You tied it to a stick, and then there you go. Ooh, hammer. Hammer hit thing.
Yeah, Minecraft in real life, like Scott. Yeah.
Is that how you found your partner? You just found her wandering in the forest one day. Boom, you're mine.
Yeah.
Now she's wearing clothes and stuff. What am I doing? Sorry. She's not watching this. See, I'm sorry, Mrs. Bearded Viking. Oh, guys, I've just made an enemy in Canada. I'm not even there yet.
My Bearded Viking awkward look to the side and go, ha, ha.
She's there with the hammer, just.
What are your friends saying about me? I want to be that friend too. Oh, jeez.
And a bit about my personal life. I'm married. I have 3 children, 10, 9, and 4.
Oh.
Oh.
Huey, Louie, and Dot. I can't remember the third duckling, what his name was. DuckTales. What is it? Huey, Louie, and what was the third ducktail? I can't remember. All right, if it comes back to us, we'll ask the viewers. Viewers, if you know, please leave a comment.
Yeah.
Some guy's gonna leave a comment. I didn't come here for this crap. So.
Yeah. Games to movies. That's what I'm here for, not cartoons.
No, not cartoons. No. Awesome. Right. You have hit the nail on the head. The topic that we will be talking about is video games that were turned into movies. I did extensive research on the topic, but before I kick off, firstly, we're going to do a round, and I'm going to pass the mic around so that other people can have their opinion about the subject in particular. We won't talk. You can, if you want, to bring up individual movies, but I just want to talk about the idea, the concept of changing video games into movies and what you think about that. Why is it done? What should it be done, etc. So, Mike, first over to Captain Toothless. Go ahead.
Yeah. The idea, like we were talking about movies and all that last week, and for those that can remember, I'm obviously like a massive Marvel fan, right? And I know we're going back a bit, but we were talking about the new Marvel game that's supposed to be coming out. So this idea of watching these movies and get your own kind of concept behind them is a fantastic idea. But then to be playing the video games, I always remember the first kind of movie to game I ever played was the Lord of the Rings franchise, Lord of the Rings 2 Towers. Loved it. Played, didn't matter how many times I completed it, I kept on going back, and it was brilliant because it was one of those games that stuck exactly to the movie. There was no like extra side mission that wasn't in the movie. It was you played every chapter of every part of the movie, and I loved that, and I loved going back through it, and then it got me in the mood to watch the movie again and go back through it. So any sort of good movie that I have to point out there, good movie that gets made into a great video game, I'm all over it. That's my opinion on the matter just now. I don't want to get too much into it because I could talk for days about it. But I'm just curious to find out what everybody else's opinions are for movies into games.
Awesome. I mean, that's an amazing thing to think about, because when a movie gets turned into a video game, because there's such limitations with the movie and you need the game to have so many hours of gameplay, they have to add in the side quests to try and make it interesting, to try and make it colorful, right? And one example I was thinking of, we mentioned just before the show started, I mentioned Men in Black. Now, Men in Black was a video game made on PlayStation 1. It was atrocious. They tried to make up their whole new story, which I never got through because the gameplay was atrocious. It was so bad. It was embarrassing. But yes, almost any Lord of the Rings video game that is made from the movie, right? Because it's not even the book, because it's made from the movie now.
Yeah,
the movie has
it's
pioneered it. For the new century, the movie's pioneered it, right? So for a new generation. So the fact that the video games keep us engaged, and the video game was so good that you couldn't help it, you had to go back and watch the movie again. That's just a mark of an awesome video game, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So obviously, that's a very good example of one being changed into the other. Mike goes over to Amy. So your topic of being one changing into the other. What do you feel about it?
I'll just tackle a particular franchise, specifically with video games going to movies.
Okay.
There's a way to do it correctly, like we're saying. I think back the original Tomb Raider films. They weren't the best, but they knew that they weren't the best, so they upped the cheese of it. They just wanted to be cheesy with the action, with the music, and it made it amazing, because it was just like, we know that we're not making an incredible, action adventure, whatever, but we're making a badass film about a badass girl, so go for it. And with the latest reboot, I feel like that's in the chain of making the video game genre come back, because watching the reboot movie of the reboot game, it was incredible. Like, there was scenes from the game in the film that was incredible, and it took you back to that. Well, it took me back to when the first time I played it, and it was just like, I remember that was an insane scene. But there's still ways to go, because particularly I didn't like the script of that film because it was just bad. But they're getting somewhere. They just need to tighten up and fix other bits to fully revive it.
Okay.
That's what I think.
See, I never watched the newest one. Sorry, Ziva. I never watched the newest one. And you're talking about how some missions were put into the movie. I've got two questions. Do they have the tiger scene in the new movie where you're jumping from rocks and there's that badass tiger that if you fall on the floor, you're dead straight away? I'm talking the old school Lara Croft 2D pixel face.
No, with the new reboot film, it is the first reboot of the 2013 Tomb Raider reboot.
Ah, right.
It's that game that they do, and it was the airplane scene in that they did, which was insane.
No creepy waiter following you around.
No.
No,
they left that out.
Okay. I wonder why.
Yeah.
Just 7 hours of that would have been pure entertainment. Locking him in the fridge, remember?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone did that.
Yeah.
Probably would have an issue with health and safety if they did that, but
it's a video. You have to make sacrifices for movies, right? It's interesting you hit on Tomb Raider, because yes, I loved the Angelina Jolie versions.
Yes.
The second one in particular, Creative of Life, more than I liked the 2018 reboot. Because I get what they were doing in the 2018 reboot. It was just missing something. And just like you said, they made it pure cheese, right? And it's funny you should make it, because they interviewed AJ back then for the first movie. And she said the shorts that they did for the first one, right? She hated them. She could not move in them. They were just so annoying, but you had to do them for the movie. She says, she had to make the sacrifice for the movie. She had to wear something uncomfortable. Oh, the travesty. But yeah, she did that. And then the second one came along, and the second one I loved because there was a brilliant twist at the end with the Scottish actor, whose name I have forgotten. Gerard Butler, right? I think it was Gerard.
Jerry Butler.
Thank you. Right. Yeah, Jerry Butler, right? So, yeah, I know I was halfway there. So the little twist at the end there, and I loved it. The action, just like you said, it was cheesy. And it was perfect amount of cheese. But if you release it today, I don't know what is with people nowadays. They don't like that type of cheese for some reason. I still loved it because we knew it. Like you nailed it on the head, Amy. It was supposed to be cheesy, and they knew it. So thank you very much for that. We have an agreement on that when it comes to the Tomb Raider thing. Passing the mic over to Mr. Cat Ears. I'm not going to call you Lux. I'm going to call you Cat Ears because you're trying to hide them.
That's fine. That's fine.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Before we continue, I would like to say that Scott Farrar has said, Viking, why didn't you name your kids Loki, Thor, and Hela? Would have been perfect. He's absolutely right. Such a shame.
As far as they know, that maybe I did.
This is a fair point. We don't know their names. Awesome. All right, so we're passing the mic back to. We'll leave that a mystery. Ashton, back to you. Cat Ears, please. Your opinion.
honestly, I kind of agree with the whole like, because back in the day, in the old like 2000s like movies, they were so cheesy but so good. I love the old Tomb Raiders to death. I just think it was like really cool the way they did it. But the new ones are so much more accurate. I noticed, like they have the specifics of the games in them. Like the old Resident Evil, like I don't know whether people like that or not, but I do, because it does have bits from the games in the film, like the running away from the helicopter as it's coming down the thing in the second one where she's running. You actually get to do that in the game, just not as Alice. And I thought that was kind of rad that they put little bits in back in the olden days, but it's not as accurate, but it's great. I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, they can't do it exactly same for same when they make the movie, right? They're going to have to change some aspects of it. But that's fair enough. Yeah, we are going to touch on Resi as well. I've done a little bit, just a very touch on Resi we'll talk about in a moment. But obviously, I'm going to pass the mic over to the Viking now. So please, your opinion on the topic.
Yeah, I also quite like when video games go to movies, but they do a continuation of the video game. Like, I don't know if guys have ever seen Final Fantasy Advent Children.
Yes. Brilliant, yes.
Which was an amazing movie, but if you didn't play Final Fantasy VII, you could not follow the story at all, right?
Yeah, no clue. Yeah,
which was a downfall for that movie, but I mean, just the continuation, it was just brilliant. I loved it, absolutely loved it. And Tomb Raider was another one, and I think you'd hit the nail on the head. It was just the right amount of cheese. It was good, and back in the day for me is 90s, but.
Both of us with our white hair and our beard, yeah, we understand.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, I was there for the beginning of those. I think the first ever video game to movie was Super Mario Brothers, and I remember, I think that was
1993.
93.
93. Yeah.
And, I remember watching it when it came out.
I know, right? I mean, I didn't get to watch it in the cinema. I watched it on VHS back then. VHS was the big thing then.
Yeah, VHS is a big cassette.
For the younger generation.
Yeah. It's in a box about this big.
I remember those days.
People's PCs are the size now of the freaking video cassette that you have to put the cassette in. You know?
Yeah.
Clunk, right?
And you couldn't just have the VHS in the VHS machine. You needed the VHS cleaner. And
oh yeah. You had to have a big screwdriver next to the damn VHS cassette in case you had to rewind the tape back into the damn cassette thing, just like you do with audio cassettes. Yeah.
Audio cassettes are just the same, just smaller. No.
Yeah, exactly, right? These are physical contributions, yes. For people like Amy, who might not know who's the youngest of us all, bless her, and people younger. I feel old. Let me go take my freaking pit medicine. Anyway, all right, awesome, yeah.
Was another good one. Silent Hill.
The
list goes on and on. I grew up playing these games, and they were again cheesy, right? Back in the 2000s and 90s.
Absolutely.
Brothers especially was just
You watch it now and you're thinking, why did I like this? But at the time, it was perfect. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It was like, this is not much like the game, but I love it.
That's the thing. That was back when video games didn't have a story. You're Mario, you're a plumber, you got to save the princess. That's it. And there's a big dinosaur in the way. That's it. Right?
Exactly.
So, before we continue, Danny Caswaller says that you had to blow it to make it work. I was wondering what he was talking about, and then I realized he was talking about the video cassette. Thank goodness for that, because this is a family-friendly show. But you are thinking of the Sega Mega and the N64 drives. I couldn't blow into mine and work because,
it says right on the cassette, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's like, don't do that. And we're like, just spitting in it.
Yeah. Spitting in it, making it worse, destroying the magnetic tape inside. The best thing about this conversation is half our audience are watching thing. What the hell are they talking about? Well, welcome to our generation.
Yeah.
So let's rein it back. We're old. We get it. Okay. So you hit the nail on the head with Super Mario Bros. Because now you see, there are two real go-to websites that I usually go to when it comes to reviewing videos and movies, right? There's Rotten Tomatoes and then there's IMDb, right? And I prefer IMDb over Rotten Tomatoes because with Rotten Tomatoes, you'll get a movie where they've given it 2%, but then the user viewing is 80, 90%. So what the hell is going on there, right? So with IMDb, it's a nice balance in between. And I went to check out the Super Mario Bros. Thing. And it seems like right now, nobody likes it. And obviously nobody likes it because they went around in the 90s, right? In the 90s, they made it this sort of like, it wasn't the fantasy land like that you have in the video games and they've made now. From N64 onwards, when they made it 3D, it was a proper fantasy land. Back then, it was just 8-bit pixels or 24-bit pixels. That was it, right? Not even 24-bit, sorry, 8-bit. And it was just this guy, little thing dancing around. So they had to make a movie, and they made a movie which was perfect for the time, which was about when a lot of these movies were being made, right? Like the movie, what was it? Feed Me Seymour? House of Horrors? I think it was. Not House of Horrors.
Little House of Horrors.
Little House of Horrors, that was made in an urban environment. You had a Michael Jackson movie that was made in an urban environment, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So many of them, even Batman, even though that wasn't necessarily aimed for kids. So they had to make the Super Mario in an urban environment. It was perfect for its time. Amy's hit the nail on the head on another point that we were going to talk about. The Tomb Raider movies, the initial ones with AJ, they were perfect for their time. So when you look back at them, you're going to think, what the hell are we thinking, right? But they were adaptations for their time. They weren't timeless pieces. And I think this is a thing I hear when it comes to turning a video game into an adaptation for a movie, you're not necessarily going to get a timeless piece. You're just going to get a movie. This is fun to watch, awesome to watch at the time. And then it's a memory. That's about it. And it's
exceptions, I think.
There are some exceptions? Go on.
I think Mortal Kombat is a great example of a timeless film.
Jericho Pring just mentioned that in the Facebook chat. Absolutely. So Mortal Kombat, why do you think that?
Just, at the time that came out, I think it was 95?
95, yeah.
They didn't have like super big actors. They had some big actors, and it was just,
Christopher Lambert was the only guy they had, right? He plays the electric dude. I forgot his name. That is it. They only had Raiden. Christopher Lambert. Raiden, thank you.
Yeah.
That's all they had. No one else was. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and it wasn't like outrageous, like silly fighting either. It was like, it was martial arts for the most part.
Yeah. There wasn't no advanced CGI. There wasn't no really super special effects. And it wasn't like great martial arts, but it was good martial arts for a 90s movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. But like I could pick it up and watch it today and still enjoy it as much as I did back then.
Well, the one thing that will stick with you from Mortal Kombat, I'm hoping we're thinking the same thing.
Oh.
I'm hoping.
There's a few.
Just the one thing that I've forgotten almost. I even watched it recently 2-3 years ago, but I forgot everything about the movie. But only one thing stuck with me, and that was the sound. It's not in the movie. It's not like the story or anything.
Oh, it's the song.
It's the soundtrack. Absolutely, the soundtrack. Yeah. You can listen to that today, and even kids half our age, they'll think this is pretty badass.
Yeah,
right?
They had that electro song. That
was, I know, right? It is amazing. They still use it today, don't they? It's amazing. Yeah. But the absolute travesty with Mortal Kombat was the sequel, Annihilation. Did you see that?
I did. Yeah, it was. I agree. It wasn't great.
Heartbroken. Heartbroken. I was.
So the thing for me, and I'm probably going to get a lot of hate in the chat just now, right? I always say wasn't old enough. No, I was too young to watch it when it came out in 1995. I then got into Mortal Kombat without any of the movies playing the game, right? And then I found out when I was about 10, 11, it was like, oh, there's movies for Mortal Kombat. I then watched the movies, hated the movies, and I never went back to Mortal Kombat. Even with all the new up-to-date ones in 2019, I never went back because the movie put such an impression on me. I couldn't go back to Mortal. And I'm sorry, chat. I am sorry.
Shame. For shame.
I'm sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for bringing this man as the co-host. I am so sorry.
I just had to get
I did not realize he had this opinion.
See, I had similar, not with Mortal Kombat, but with did anyone watch the Tekken film?
Oh, for God's sake. Oh, my God. I'm a Tekken man. I tell everybody. And I was so embarrassed watching the movie.
Yeah. Me and my brother, that's all we'd play. That we were obsessed with that game. And then I don't know how he found it, but he found that there was a film. So we're like, oh my God, yes, this will be awesome. I don't even.
It wasn't, was it? You've seen the Mortal Kombat one, right? Are you talking about, because apparently there's 2 Tekken movies, but the one I saw was when Jin Kazama is found and he's brought into the tournament and Heihachi gets killed. Heihachi Mishima gets... Oh, no, Heihachi doesn't get killed. It's Kazuya has to face him off. I can't remember. But yeah, it's that bad. I don't even remember it properly, right? It's just so bad. And it was... And the guy who finds Jin Kazama, he's an actual... he's not like an A-list martial arts video star, but he is a martial arts movie star. And he didn't do any martial arts in the movie. No, so it was just like a bit embarrassing. No, he wasn't. He wasn't doing any of that. It's just atrocious. I absolutely understand. But it didn't put you off Tekken, did it?
Oh, no.
No, thank God for that.
Thankfully not.
Thankfully not, yeah.
Yeah, there was a few bad fighting movies. Tekken was one of them. Street Fighter with Jean Van Damme.
Yeah. Oh, see, this is where I will disagree. I found it funny. I found it really cheesy with the Van Damme one. It was just like...
It was cheesy, but it wasn't...
It was too cheesy for you? You don't like your pizza that cheesy?
Level. There's got to be
there's got to be like entertainment cheesy. It can only be so cheesy. But the animated version of the Street Fighter, that was
animated undoubtedly because they're made by this almost a similar studio, right? The anime manga type of thing. Manga did Street Fighter. The one that I would love the best was Street Fighter Alpha 2 animated. I remember the name because I watched it like 10 times. Bloody amazing. And you know why I like the movie more? Here's the thing as well, where opinions differ is your relationship with movies and your relationship with video games. I didn't play as much Street Fighter because on PlayStation there wasn't Street Fighter, right? At the time. And what do you call it? I liked Van Damme at the time. I was a big fan. I was more a movie fan than I was a video game fan, and I think I'm the same today. So I was enjoying Van Damme kicking ass. So that's what I liked about it. So that's definitely me. I liked it, and I think it's the memory attached to it that I watched it with my family, and we were just having a laugh and making fun of it. So I think that's one thing as well.
I've got the same thing with you there, Z-Bear. Like, I remember playing Doom, and we're playing. I think that was like the first-person shooter I played.
Oh, wow!
And it was the first time I got terrified playing a game as well, because anytime you went around one of those corners, there was something there. And then I think it was 2005. No, 2005. Possibly.
Are you talking about the one with Dwayne Johnson in it, right?
Johnston, and I was a massive wrestling fan growing up and all. So I had all 3 things coming to me. I was like, this is brilliant. Watched the Doom movie, and I loved it. It was fantastic. But the thing that topped it off was this was obviously a movie. Everything was getting filmed with camera angles and different shots. But then he took the part where he was trying to escape, and the camera shifted round to his first-person view. And it was,
I remember that.
And I loved it. And he was going on the corners, and it was the gore and the smashing and the guns going off. Like that 30 seconds of the movie is my favorite part of the movie because it brought me back to the adaptation of the game. And that'll stick with me for forever. It'll never put me off Doom because that was just blowing. It was great.
All right, that's fair enough.
They should have a movie like Doom should have been all in first person.
No,
that would have been interesting. Have you seen Hardcore Henry? A movie called Hardcore Henry?
Yes.
Hardcore Henry, all first person, right?
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah,
I loved it.
That's the thing, though, because it's risky to do an entire movie like that. And Hardcore Henry, they risk to do it. So I can imagine Hollywood saying, "Nuh-uh, we're not touching that," right? Yeah. So just a little throw in. And an interesting fact about Doom. Dwayne Johnson, right? He was offered the role as the hero.
Yeah.
And he said no. He read the script and he said, no, I like this other character better. And he seems like interesting, right? I didn't like the movie as much, but that little 30-second, I loved it. I see what you mean. It was okay. It was a good watch for me. It was a good pastime. And then they made another Doom movie recently where the studio had to step up and say, yeah, we didn't have anything to do with the movie. It was that bad. I don't know if any of you guys even know that another Doom movie was made. There you go. You see, that's how bad it was. They made another Doom movie. They had no consultation with the video game studio. And that's the amazing thing. They got away with making the movie. And the studio's afterwards saying, yeah, we didn't have anything to do with it. Maybe they thought it was so bad, they just thought, we're not even going to sue them. They've just dug their own grave. Bye-bye. Right? So, Ash, we've not had a chance to talk about you when it comes to, I mean, we've mentioned a few things here now about different various video games and how they stuck with us and things like that. Do you have an experience similar to that? Be it good or bad?
Honestly, Resident Evil's a biggie for me. Like, I grew up playing horror games. I was kind of
Okay.
through in the deep end because I had a really goth mother, and who was also a gamer.
Awesome.
Yes.
She was like,
Oh, that's the dream mom. Your mom's awesome. Go ahead. Sorry, dude.
yeah, literally, she just threw these games at me and was like, "I've played these. I've done this. This is what you should do. Here you go."
She's northern, is she?
She was pretty mad, and still
Okay.
is today. So yeah, Resident Evil and Silent Hill, like Peter Viking brought up, is like my jam. And I
Your
think
jam.
like the Silent Hill movie was really good, like really, really good. I thought that, but
The first one or the second one?
both. I liked both because it
You
was
like
different
both?
stories from different games, and I've been playing the game since the very first one. So
Very first one, yeah.
yeah,
That
'cause
must your heart must have broken when they found out that they're not making the Silent Hill game with Hideo Kojima, right?
no, I did. I actually had that downloaded on my PlayStation and didn't delete it until it got removed. Like I've played it on my Twitch as well. Like I love that game.
Are you talking about the demo?
Yeah, I played it to death. I wanted it to be a real game.
Oh man, we were all stuck on that. I don't even know if anybody knows exactly what happened, but yeah, there was some sort of disagreement, and then we never got them. And the interesting thing about the Silent, I like the first one better than the second one, right? The first one was a whole interesting world there that they've created, and I don't think, if I'm correct, you played the Silent Hill more than me. I haven't played all of them. I think what happened in between with the Silent Hills was the video game copied the movie, because I don't remember pyramid heads and things like that in the video games originally. Am I right? Can you think back? Do you remember?
From what I remember, Pyramid Head's kind of like a running idea in our games. Like he's a villain, but like you'd hardly ever see of him. So putting him in the movies was like a really interesting thing because you never really saw him. He was just kind of the scary entity that used to chase you about. And you'd never really see him, but when you did, it was like, okay, never mind. Get out of there.
You'd be better wearing your nappies, right? Just in case. Bloody hell. Yeah, you genuinely did. I remember seeing him for the first time in a video game. I thought, oh yeah, he's from the movie. Oh shit, run! So I don't remember in the first game I remember playing, because it was one of the first, almost the 3D GTA sort of feel, where you're in a city and you have to run around, right? But you're being chased by monsters. So that's why it's interesting that some video games end up copying their movies, which to an extent, this is my theory, it's not blatant, and I think that's what happened with the Resident Evils. Now, you brought up Resident Evil twice. I'm going to go through, just for our people watching as well, just checking the stats, my notes here, not stats. So the Resident Evil, arguably the most successful movie adaptation from video games, because they made 6 of them, right? And you look at the timeline, the first one came out in 2002, then the next one, Apocalypse, came out in 2004. Then the Resident Evil 4 game was released in 2005. And then they've kind of got away from making it a horror and kind of made it into like a spooky shoot 'em up, right? And it's not quite a first-person shooter. It's not easy to actually full-on get into the action, but they've designed it in such a way that it can get your heartbeat racing, right? You're thinking, oh, sure, I have to press the right button to do this, otherwise I'll die, right?
Yeah.
And it worked. And then Resident Evil Extinction movie came out in 2007.
Brilliant.
Then the Resident Evil 5 game came out in 2009, and that was been my favorite out of the series. Even though it's not a horror, because when the first Resident Evil came out, I was a kid, and it scared me to death.
Oh, yeah.
But even more so than Silent Hill, I think. Silent Hill was a bit more mystical about its horror. Resident Evil was just bloodthirsty, bloodlust horror, right? But when it came to sorry?
The camera angles.
Yeah.
On Resident Evil. That's what
opening.
Do you remember when the hunter comes in for the first time in the very first one? It jumps over the entire goddamn mansion, then it opens the door and it's right in front of you with Chris, and he comes there with the giant claws. I shat myself. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? I was trying to select the right gun, and by the time I'd aimed it, he'd cut my goddamn head off.
Yeah, and there was that hallway too. You went through it once, and you go through it again, and then the dogs come through.
The dogs jump out the window. It was heart racing. And in the video movies, they just kind of made it like a bloody action movie, right? But Resident Evil 5, I don't consider it a true Resident Evil game because of the gameplay, but I will play it again and again because it's intense. It's an intense action game for me, right? Then you have Afterlife, the Resident Evil Afterlife came out in 2010, and then you have Retribution that came out in 2012. And it was really, really cheesy, these Resident Evil movies, right? I mean, I watched them all, and I thought I have to watch the next one. I don't know why. As a video game fan, Resident Evil, the first one came out just after Resident Evil 3, right? And I thought it's going to be horrific. It wasn't horrific. It was bloody, and I just didn't get it. And then I watched the second one, and I thought, now I get the appeal, and the third one, and And for you, Ash Lux, I've got some good news. They're making a reboot of the Resident Evil movies. Yeah, and they were planning to release it later. You know, this are awesome. I think they were going to plan to release it later this year, but obviously because of all this that's happening, that probably ain't going to happen. And it's going to be more a horror movie than it is the action movies that they made. And
I think what I heard is they're making a series as well.
Ooh, risky. I mean, there's a lot of content to make a series too, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, because I think I've played all the main numbers, Resi 1, 2, 3. I've played 4, 5, and 6. There are video games in between as well. And now, I played 7 as well, and they've stopped now. Now they're doing reboots, which tells you something. They're running out of ideas. You know, this takes me back to what I was saying last week with they're too busy making video games pretty that they screw up the stories. And I think they've just run out of ideas. Capcom have run out of ideas for the story for Resident Evil, so they're going back to the originals and just remaking them. Yeah, I can't be bothered to think of something. Let's just remake them. So that'll be interesting to see with the TV series. Sorry, Amy.
No, just with your point there, like they're focusing too much on making video games beautiful. I feel like that's what they're doing with films, and why they're not willing to try and make things like the cheesy action films that we were talking about. Because if you think about it, like say again, Tomb Raider, if the Angelina Jolie film was released now, everybody would look at that and think this is poor production quality. Like what is happening? Yeah,
everyone now thinks that they're a professional critic. They just don't want to enjoy the movie, right? Or not enjoy it. Okay, you don't like it, fine, off your sod, right?
Yeah. So they're not. It is that thing because we've advanced so much with CGI and just like everything's improved and it's great, but no one's willing to be like let's just have fun with this. But I think it'll take a lot of courage for someone to be like, you know what, I'm going to make another pretty cheesy video game film. Have at it.
Well, I don't know whether you know about the Sonic movie, but I feel like that incorporates all of the cheese. It's probably one of the best game movies I've ever seen. I think that one is reviving the video game genre, because watching that, holy hell, it was amazing. Like it worked perfectly because it's Sonic. There was cheese in it, and they got away with it because it's a kid's film. I was at first I was really worried with
I think we all were.
Yeah. But I was wondering how Jim Carrey was going to be. I don't doubt his acting abilities, but I was worried about, is he going to be funny in a kid way or just his way? And he just did it all his way, and it was phenomenal.
Perfect.
So
he was perfect. You're absolutely perfect for the movie. And my funny experience with Sonic the Hedgehog is I went to the cinema to watch it. I don't care. I don't have any kids. By myself, I went to the cinema and I sat in the VIP row in View Cinema, all full of adults. And there's like 20 adults watching the movie and 2 kids at the back. And I said, hey, do you realize none of us are kids here? We're watching the Sonic. And they're just like, hey, holding up their drinks. Because we wanted to see Sonic and Jim Carrey.
When we went, there was so many people with just Sonic t-shirts. Just like, we're here. Like, it was incredible.
Oh, I mean, that's the thing that we bullied on the online community. The one time the online community did something correct when it comes to bullying a movie, the original Sonic looked a monster. And then they rated him and he looked proper. And you see Tails at the end. Tails looks exactly like the... I think I've just ruined it for people. Sorry.
A little bit. But
a little bit. Sorry. It's been out for a year now. Come on. So, I mean, it's perfect. We loved it. Absolutely.
And the thing is, awesome. The amount... They can make so many sequels with it because they'll want to see Tails, they'll want to see Knuckles, they'll want to see Amy. They're going to want to see all the characters in this world. So I will pay all my money to see all of this. Like, give 15 sequels. I don't care.
It'll be interesting because Jim Carrey doesn't like doing sequels. He might continue with this.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, this is the thing because he did Ace Ventura 2 and he didn't like it. They offered him to do Mask 2 and he didn't want to do it. And even Dumb and Dumber 2, Dumb and Dumberer, he didn't even want to do it initially. He wants to do roles that challenge him, right? So he wants to do a new role each time. So then he started doing sequels. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Right? To see that. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that is the Sonic. I'm glad you brought that up. That released earlier this year as well. And it was the part at the beginning is funny where he's trying to get that guy, the conspiracy theorist guy's going to catch him. One day I'll catch you. No, you won't. From the forest. It's hilarious. Yeah. But now, this is another thing. Amy said another thing I was going to mention is the way we view movies, the way we review movies. You know, everyone thinks they're. I mean, there was the start from time immemorial. Everyone's a critic, but now they're critiquing movies in another way that absolutely boggles my mind. Now, there's a movie called Ghost in the Shell, right? An adaptation from the anime, right? I'm actually going to go on to another video game as well about that. But the adaptation, I thought that was a good adaptation, right? I don't know if you guys seen it, and I saw the original anime movie, and there's Mr. Anime there, chuckling away.
We need his opinion.
You've cosplayed Ghost in the Shell, haven't you, mate? That's why you're laughing your ass off.
I haven't, but I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it.
I was going to say it'd be amazing. Here's me as the ghost. Oh, man. But yeah, Ghost in the Shell I thought it was an amazing movie because it's risky changing a manga cartoon into a movie. And they picked the perfect girl. They picked Scarlett Johansson. But there was backlash for the movie. People didn't go to the movie because they didn't cast a Japanese actor for Scarlett Johansson's role. Even though people in Japan were saying, she looks like an anime girl. She's got the big eyes. She's got the big lips. She looks like an anime girl. It's perfect. The Japanese were saying this. But then some people were getting self-righteous and saying, no, they didn't cast a Japanese person for the role. You weren't supposed to. If you knew the story, it was supposed to be a European model. It was perfect for the show, but people didn't know this. And my thing is that people's ignorance have fueled their opinions, and this has happened in a lot of fields of work. We're not going to be a political show, but it affects video games, and it also affects the movies that they make, you know, to a certain extent. So that's pretty annoying on that front. Having said that, there's just another interesting comment here by Michael King a little while ago. He said, Abe's Odyssey gave me nightmares as a kid. Firstly, you're a softie. Abe's Odyssey made me laugh like anything. I don't know if you guys know Abe's Odyssey. Viking Mike.
I love that game.
It's hilarious. I don't know why it gave him nightmares. Maybe I don't know. I'm not going to be presumptuous. And Jericho Pring says he loves the Naruto poster in the back.
Hell yeah.
So if you'd like to pose with it and just, you know, take a sexy picture with it or something like that. Not like sexy, provocative. Wrong word. Never mind. Back to the topic at hand. Videos.
Take a video.
Take a video. Please don't. We don't know where that's going to go.
No.
So then the beginning of the noughties came along, and then I have this theory where video games adaptations to movies, those movies, aren't as good as the video games anymore because the video games themselves are so goddamn cinematic. You know? Like, they did a test run to do, I don't know if anybody's seen this, if any of the viewers, they're watching it, Uncharted, right? All 4 video games, bloody amazing. I'm doing my second run to Uncharted 4 right now because it was free on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Now, the stories are bloody amazing. So what did they do? Some guys put some money together and made a little video clip, a 10-minute, 15-minute video clip. You know the guy, the actor's name is Nathan, the guy who was Firefly, the Captain Firefly. You know the actor? He's the rookie. He plays Nathan Drake, right? They have him tied to a chair and they interview him. They torture him to try and get some information. He breaks out of a window. They do the camera angle to look like like in the video game, the camera angle changes to behind him. And they do it perfectly. The stunts are terrible, but of course, because it's on a budget. And you know the movie in Avatar, right? The video game movie Avatar. The general at the end who busts open the door, he doesn't even put open his masks and start firing at people. Mm-hmm. That actor was in there as well. He played Ted Sullivan. And it was hilarious. And that was it, though. They've never decided to make a movie from it. And my theory is why? Because the video games are so goddamn good in telling the movie, the story. You're going to have to try and make a movie from that. It's too goddamn risky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what do you... Yeah. Now the risky part comes in. We're going to talk about early movies up to about the noughties, right? So 2000 to 2009, we should say. The video games kind of got away with the movie adaptations, but then it got a little bit more difficult. And we're going to talk about movies in perhaps later on. An example, I'll come back to me first. I'll pass the mic over to, because I've talked a lot now, I'll pass it over to Captain Toothless. That issue that I've raised there with the cinematography in video games being so good, is there a risk to moving over to movies as well?
Well, not right. There's 2 movies I've got in mind that I think personally nailed it 100%. And the first movie, and I believe it's one of the highest made money videos from a game, and it was
Very good English there. Well done.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, Scottish. Can't help it.
You make that big pop movie. Yeah.
Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah.
That nailed it. And it had was it Jake
Gyllenhaal.
Tremendous actor and whatever he does, but that film was mad, and I liked Prince of Persia the game.
I think it was perfect. Yeah.
And I loved the game. I went back and played it again. Like this is what I keep saying about the ideas of the movies that it makes you want to go back and relive these games. So you're kind of in this own little world of your own. And I've seen it in loads of the Facebook comments already. Assassin's Creed movie. Why there hasn't been another Assassin's Creed movie made, I don't know. But that movie was brilliant, and yet again makes me want to go back and play all the Assassin's Creeds. Bearded Viking smiling down there as well. He's loving that.
He's rolling his eyes. And
I believe that if they can do it right, and they can do it in a sense, like I know there's this talk next year about like a Minecraft the movie coming out, a Call of Duty.
No.
Yeah, I've got a list.
Really?
I will get you the list.
You were telling me you had a list. Yeah, go ahead.
I've got a list. So, again, 2020 could be hit or miss with everything that's going on, but they're supposed to bring out a Monster Hunter, and that's supposed to be Capcom helping out with that.
And who's the lead actress in Monster Hunter?
The one from Resident Evil.
It's Mila Jovovich from Resident Evil.
Yes, so it is.
She's going to be the lead.
Yeah.
It's
already done, by the way.
Oh, is it already done?
Yeah.
They're going to release. It's going to be released. It was supposed to be released later at the end of this year again, but God knows what'll happen, right?
Yeah, and I'm excited to see what they do because I love Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
I think this is the thing though. But Monster Hunter doesn't really have that much of a story. It's more like a multiplayer universe kind of thing. So to make a story, it's kind of like Super Mario Brothers. It's going to be risky. So let's see what they do.
Well, for the most part, I mean, Monster Hunter, they're like researchers and they protect their.
Yeah, there's a concept. There's a concept around the game.
Yeah, there's not much lore as far as the game goes. So, I mean, it's probably the perfect choice for a video game.
The thing with the video game is it's a very mythical and magical sort of thing. I'm worried that Hollywood being Hollywood, they might turn it gritty and we're going to be like, whoa, you know? But let's see what happens. Sorry, go ahead, Captain. You had that list going on.
It's just the same with a few other games. Like they're supposed to bring out a Call of Duty game. Yet again, that's got a tremendous storyline to it. I can imagine Hollywood.
Game or movie?
They're trying to bring out the movie. They're trying to bring
the
out
movie, right?
The movie. I'm saying if they made the movie, they're probably going to end up going with something completely different. I don't think they'll follow like Modern Warfare 2 General Shepard story. I don't think they'll want even touch that because that's a classic in a game.
Yeah, you cannot do that. Yeah, that'll be.
They're bringing out Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Tom Clancy's The Division, Sleeping Dogs, loads of these Uncharted's on there, but whether or not that's going to actually be.
See, you bring up Uncharted. Some guys in the comments, Scott and someone else was saying that Tom Holland, like you said, has been cast for it, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's been cast already. He's going to do
it's been cast.
Yeah.
Interesting.
See, The Division is another one that is a really good idea. That there's so much room for stories for The Division. I mean, they haven't even scratched the surface with 1 and 2. You know, the first one you're in New York, the second one you're in Washington. But like, there's so many other places in the world or just in the United States that, you know, are still in disarray, are probably, you know, in the same situations as the other ones or worse. So
and you're in Canada, you're right above the country. You know better than we do.
Yeah.
There's so many places over there.
That's Canada's underwear, and we know it.
Yeah. I was telling you before the show, I think it's Robin Williams who says living in Canada is like being above noisy neighbors in a meth lab. Oh, God. Love Robin Williams. But yeah, no, this is the thing about video game movies, right? Because Assassin's Creed, as we've judged by this guy's reaction, and this guy's reaction, you either loved the movie or you hated the movie, right? So there was a comment of a guy Bob Bear who said he absolutely hated the movie, and there's a couple of comments that said they absolutely loved the movie. I liked the movie because if you looked at it objectively, you take out your video game experience. I took my mother to watch it, and she loved the movie. And I love that I could enjoy it with her because she hasn't played the games.
Yeah. So
they copied the concept, they did a few action, and then they never made a sequel because obviously it didn't do well because gaming fans were like, how bloody dare you, right? Exactly. The majority of gaming fans who watched it were disappointed. right? They didn't look at it objectively. Michael Fassbender was amazing in it as well.
Mhm.
The guy who plays his father, I forgot his name, amazing too. But still, we were looking for a video game movie and not just a movie that was based on the video game. I mean, it sounds subtle, the difference there, but there is a major difference there, isn't there? So, and Prince of Persia, same thing happened. I loved the movie, but majority of people for some reason said no, they didn't like it, and that's why I didn't get a sequel again.
But it was gaming fans that never liked it. If there's a review somewhere online and it's people who are non-gamers that watched the movie and
they
loved it because they hadn't had anything to go off, and that's the horrible thing that we're involved in as gamers. We have such a high expectation when one of these things comes out that we're expecting it in our own. It could be completely different. Like Amy could have something different to me. I could think something different to Bearded Viking. Everybody's got their own kind of view on a game, and that's what makes the gaming community a wonderful, beautiful thing. When it comes to the movie side of things, everybody's got their own views, but I think that's why gaming movies do struggle majority of the time. But obviously, you had a point that you want to say there, Z.
No, I'm just that you nailed it on the head there because we've got so different expectations. There was an article I read once, and I can't find it again, which is annoying, where Sony PlayStation are thinking of making up their own movie studio themselves. Because the majority of the time when the movies are being made as copy of video games, they're just flunking. They're just not doing a very good job in the box office. And even rentals afterwards, they're not that very good. Even though, like we're all saying, we agree objectively the movies are awesome, right? But subjectively, because the majority of people are watching it subjectively. When the Lara Croft movie came out, the first 1 and 2, there weren't that many gamers in the world. Right? I mean, there were gamers, but they weren't giving that much importance. They weren't giving that much attachment to video game lore, etc. And collectibles wasn't a big industry. Video games weren't a big industry. Full stop. They were an industry, but not that big back then. So it was perfect, right? And up till then, that's why I think the later the noughties and then the next decade, because the video games industry is bigger than Hollywood now. That's mind-boggling to think about. That the video game industry bigger than Hollywood, and somebody's mentioned Mafia 2. That would be interesting as a movie. Yeah, but that's where that rumor came from, and I've never seen the article again, which pisses me off. Moving forward, though, there's an interesting. If you make adaptations of really old video games, such as, for example, 2018, we had Rampage with Dwayne Johnson again, right? Now, the cumulative box office of Resident Evil was 1.2 billion, right? Cumulative. One Rampage was 500 million, right? And why? Because it was awesome. It was cheesy, had the CGI in it. You know, I mean, did you guys like Rampage? Did you guys have a problem with Rampage? Do you know anybody who did?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, Viking! Get out of here!
I didn't watch it.
Say that again, Viking.
Oh,
the shame.
I will not take lip from someone who liked Assassin's Creed, all right? I'm just kidding.
Well, continuing on.
Yeah.
You gotta watch it, right? Rampage, you just gotta watch because it's Dwayne. It's like when Arnie was in movies. You have to watch Dwayne now. Right? It's fun. It's cheesy, right? But there's one video game that really got me thinking, adaptation, about why it doesn't work. And that was Max Payne. And Mark Wahlberg played Max Payne. Did any of you guys see the movie Max Payne?
Mark Wahlberg was that.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg
was probably the perfect choice for Max Payne.
It was perfect for Max Payne, but the movie wasn't that good, I don't think. No. Objectively, my mom watching, she kind of like, it's okay, right? And I get it. They tried to do the whole bullet time thing where he jumps behind him and shoots the guy in the back with a shotgun. Because the problem is, right, the people who are in Hollywood, they're not necessarily gamers.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the people who are gaming, they're not having a strong affiliation with Hollywood. There is that disconnect in between. And I think that's the problem that we had. We got away with it in the 90s. We got away with it with the early noughties, right? But then because video games are getting more and more cinematic, I'm just thinking about Nathan Drake, why we like Nathan Drake in Uncharted again, because the scripting is so movie-esque. It's so casual, you know? Yeah. The voice acting is perfect. It's not like Solid Snake talking to the villain of the particular video game he's playing, right? Yeah. It's not like that. It's just casual conversation. They get in a stick, almost like Indiana Jones, right? They got that idea and they rolled with it. So there's that disconnect between Hollywood and the video game industry, all of video game industry, where they need to close. Now, our esteemed Alpha mentioned earlier that there's an interesting adaptation to TV series, The Witcher. And The Witcher, the first series was copied from the books, but they're saying that the second series they're going to copy on the video games.
Yeah.
Anybody like to chip in on that?
Yeah.
And their opinion on The Witcher and the thing, I mean, copying from the video games, how it's going to look like?
Yeah, you know, the one problem I did, like, The Witcher was good, the series, but I played The Witcher since 1. You know, still one of my favorite games, 1, 2. I haven't played the new one, though. I don't know why, but
Neither do we.
not sure why. I just never picked it up, but you know, the one problem I had with it was not enough like the video game. They were focusing on both, obviously, but they were more leaning on the books, which are good. Don't get me wrong, but it's not what I was used to, and I think that's what Scott was talking about earlier. I think it was Scott.
No, it was Lux, I think you're talking about. Ashton Lux was talking about it.
Somebody was talking about, you know, the disconnect between, you know, gamers and moviegoers, you know.
Oh, right. Sorry, yeah.
You know, sometimes they get together and like something. Like, I don't know if you guys ever seen the Warcraft movie in 2016.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one was that was made perfectly for both.
Yeah.
You know, even if you've played World of Warcraft or you haven't, you know, it was a good movie, and it wasn't as casual as you were speaking about earlier.
Mm.
You know, I didn't feel it was, you know, just.
No, I mean, I certainly like Warcraft as well. Again, I went with my parents to see that, and it was just the right amount of balance. I could tell that where the video game was coming in, where the movie came in, and how they left it open. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like they're making a sequel because it didn't do that very well in the box office. So I have another theory I'm going to throw out because I want to pass the mic to Lux next because I mentioned him. Sorry, the point you made was right, but there's another point Lux made about The Witcher as well. The thing about the problem also that we are facing is that both industries are evolving at the same time. So the movie industry, we're having a problem. We're looking at box offices, but not that many people are going to cinemas with the same expectations that people were going like a decade ago. So Marvel kind of took over the last decade when it came to movies. Marvel, that was it. You had to go see Marvel. Anything else was kind of like fillers. So the only one really good movie I can think of in the past decade that I went to the cinema was Godzilla King of the Monsters. For God's sakes, I've got that. I bought that, and you know I watched that again and again. And I can't think. There are maybe other movies, but just off the top of my head, which is annoying. Outside of Marvel, I can't think of anybody. They own the last decade. Yeah. But then, because internet quality is improving, a lot of people are streaming their movies or they're releasing online immediately. Especially now, I think the new Trolls, was released straight to streaming. Because it was going to go to cinema, but it didn't happen, of course, because of the thing that's going on. I don't know if you guys see the new Netflix movie Extraction, done by the Russo brothers, and it's blood.
Hemsworth in it.
Yeah,
in
right.
India.
Hemsworth. Yeah, in Bangladesh. It's supposed to be based in Bangladesh. Yeah, India and Bangladesh is between the two, and bloody amazing. And I'm thinking, why didn't you put that in the cinema? Why didn't you wait until that was a cinema release, right? And then one before that, Six Underground, with who's the guy who plays Deadpool? Ryan Reynolds in Six Underground. It was hilarious. It was a Michael Bay movie. It's awesome. That should have been in the cinema. And I'm thinking the reason behind that was Natalie Portman did a movie with Netflix. That was on the cinema, and that didn't do so well on the cinema, if I'm correct. I wanted to go see that in the cinema. It was taken down. People didn't get it, so they didn't get to watch that in the cinema. So from now on, Netflix is saying, even if it's a big production, we're just going to put it on Netflix. We're not even going to put it in the cinema.
Yep.
So the way we watch movies is also being affected. So that might affect how we watch video game adaptations. Yeah. So that's something to think about. I'm going to pass the mic over to Lux because you mentioned something about the books, the video games, and the TV series. And you were saying something about the first series and the books. Go ahead. I'm going to pass it over to you so you can talk about it.
With The Witcher, like, it's something that like I really adore. Like, I've got a tattoo of it on this arm, and I love it.
You have to show it. No. You have to show it now. Come on.
Can you?
I can't see it. Can anybody else see it?
Oh yeah, I see.
Sorry, it's not your fault. It's just that we got such a small screen for you. Oh yeah, awesome. Oh, is that the wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah, so essentially, I've read the books, played the games, and watched the series, and I feel like there is a disconnect between the people who read the books, played the games, and normal people, and it's just like people who
Normal
don't
people.
know anything about it.
The rest of the Homo sapiens.
Yeah, and it's like with me, like reading the books, I actually think that they've left a lot out of the books in the series. Like, there's a lot that they've changed, which I like. I personally love the series. I think it was like the best adaptation they could do at the time, but like they did leave a lot out of the games, so I agree with like being a Viking and they should actually do it. But the big thing that they were saying was that in the first series they did so much of the books because they didn't think they were going to get another series, that they're now having to go to the games because what else have they got? It's kind of second season's going to have to be about the games, which I probably think is going to be the third one.
Oh, so wait a minute. You just hit a point that I'm interested in. That you said that they weren't sure that they were going to make a second series.
Yeah.
Gosh,
there was an actual bit where the producers thought they were never going to get a second series. Like, it didn't think it was going to do well. And I feel like that's like in the game industry. I didn't think like, I think that's kind of what they look at now is, are we going to get one? Are they going to like it? Because except for Sonic, who clearly...
I don't think that's necessarily the actual Witcher franchise itself, because there was loads of fantastic... I know I'm going off topic here on Netflix. The Punisher. The Punisher was an awesome series, and then just cut it. And it was the same way a thing called Santa Clarita Diet. That's more of a chick flick kind of thing. It was funny, and then they just cut it. And I think that's more based on a Netflix side of thing than it is, it's going to hit whatever else.
Yeah,
but I mean,
Daredevil.
Yeah, go ahead, sorry, Viking.
Daredevil, Defenders.
The Marvels, but they cut off though because of Disney Plus, didn't they? They stopped. I mean, now Marvel's not on Netflix anymore; it's all on Disney Plus. So that's one of the reasons why they had to stop, and it annoyed everybody who was big fans of them. I'm not a big fan of Jessica Jones, but I was definitely a fan of Daredevil, Punisher. To a certain extent, Luke Cage was okay. I didn't like the Fist, but it doesn't matter because there was an entire universe there, and they stopped because Disney Plus, and they want to release stuff on Disney Plus now. So
it was really cool because I grew up reading comics and stuff about these superheroes. Jessica Jones, not so much. Not sure why. I didn't even know she existed until the movies.
Right.
The shows, which I did watch. I liked the shows. But like Iron Fist, absolutely love Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Daredevil. It's hit and miss, but it was a really good series.
There you go. There we go. We're opposites there. So it catered to everybody. That's the thing with Netflix. So some things I like, you didn't like as much, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So it worked around, and it might just be that because there's another Netflix thing, Dirk Gently. I watched Dirk Gently. It had 2 seasons. It's just getting interesting, and they've stopped it. So yeah, there might be a metric there that they're not catering for. And just like Lux has said, they weren't even sure they were going to get a second series, and that disconnect is there because they've yet to see. Now, this topic I'm going to mention is going to be a little bit risky, but I'm going to mention it anyway because of the way quote unquote social justice warriors work, kind of thing, right? Now, I have a theory that let's say Final Fantasy VII Remake released, right? And this guy wants, and then The Last of Us Part 2, some of the video clips were leaked, quote unquote leaked. If they were actually leaked, a lot of people saw those videos and they're pissed. Mm-hmm. They do not like the story. They're claiming to boycott it. They're saying it's going to be terrible. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but if you want to go and ruin it for yourself, I didn't check out the spoilers per se. I read articles about the spoilers, about the leaks, and it looks like, without getting into too much details, one problem that these titans of industries are having is the balance between taking the opinion of the public as to what they want and the creative license that they have. Because even though the public thinks that they want something, they don't exactly know what they want. Mm-hmm. So they will say that they don't like something, and they will freeze hell over to say that they don't like something, right? But then when you give them something different, they say they don't like that either. And then the movie flops. A la Ghost in the Shell, right? No, sorry, the other way around. What movie was it again? Oh, damn it. I remember the movie where they gave the public what they want and it absolutely flopped. And they still didn't like it. So what could you do, right? Yeah. Sonic was the only example where it actually turned out great. But what happened with Sonic, I don't know if you guys know, the damn company that did the CGI, they had to close down.
Yeah.
It was another $10 million that they had to invest in. And people say that companies start up and close down regularly all the time. But this was a defining factor for that company to close down. And even Jim Carrey said that he didn't like the idea that they had to redesign Sonic, right? But it worked out all in the end. But Jim Carrey knows the industry. What he's basing on is his experience of the industry. And even his experience isn't that much now, because isn't worth that much now, because it keeps on changing. What we expect, what like Lux is saying, that disconnect between the gamers and the people who watch movies. You know, we don't know exactly what we want, and we're destroying the creative license. With The Last of Us Part 2, somebody bought up the two female pictures, right? Tifa Lionheart from Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they compared it to one of the female actresses from Last of Us Part 2. The female, she looks broken, torn down, ripped apart, and she looks a little bit more worse for wear than you would expect, even in that world. And then you had Tifa Lionheart, and Tifa Lionheart looks like a total anime babe, right? And somebody just wrote underneath, why do Western studios hate women so much? Why do you do this, right?
Let's
Because right, and Amy has the right to say anything about this here, but it's true, isn't it? The marketing departments of these companies, I think Steve Jobs once said, there's a risk, there comes a point where a company will listen to their marketing department more than their own creative ideas, and then the concepts get destroyed. So that's where Steve Jobs, everybody in the company who worked with Steve Jobs, they hated him sometimes because of the profanity he'd used, because of the kicks up their butt that they needed to do. But I kind of understand why I needed to do him, because he needed to keep the image, the focus, the direction of the company in one direction. And I've banged on a little bit there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the mic over to Captain Toothless. If you want to add any other things, any other type of movies, adaptations or reverse adaptations, video game adaptations that have either ticked you off or you thought something went wrong, then your theory on why it could have gone wrong.
I don't have any in the past per se, but I have one kind of to ask the pack, and to ask any of the viewers at home, if we can get on that. It's on the same topic, right? But in 2021, there's a possible chance we're about to go full circle in the idea of they are remaking Super Mario Bros. But it's coming from Eliminate Studios, the guys that make Despicable Me, and they're making it animated, trying to target the younger generation. But it's one of those things that, why are they trying to target the younger generation? Because it was our generation, or even past our generation, that had Super Marios. And I can understand why they're trying to do it, because they've done other movies before where they brought stuff out. Toy Story 4, you know, we grew up with Toy Story. If adults are now taking their kids to see Toy Story, there's nothing worse than saying, what does that character do? What's that story? Or The Lion King. I never watched the first ever Lion King. The wife took me to see the new Lion King, and I loved it, but I had so many questions because of Toy Story. So the question to everybody is, do you think it's a good idea that they're trying to make essentially the godfather of all gaming movies, and they're trying to remake that into a 21st century animated film? Is that a good idea or a bad idea?
I think the way, going back to, like, it relates back to Sonic again. Like, that was a film that it was for our generation, like, as a whole, or, you know, just like further generations. It's an old game, but the fact that they also tailored it towards kids, like, you know, that like Sonic was doing the floss, that relates to Gen Z or whatever it is now. Like, I don't know, but it's something that worked well to bring two worlds together, really. So I feel like there's a lot that can go wrong, but I feel like animation is the way to go when trying to do video game films. It just works. Because it's a similar, maybe it's similar, I don't know. Yeah, it's like it's on a similar basis. So I feel like there's more of an understanding. Whereas if it's all live action, it's kind of, you know, as we were saying before, some actors aren't gamers, or there's gamers that don't like Hollywood. It's this kind of, you know, you've got to meet in the middle. And I feel like video games and animation has a similar understanding. So it could work.
I'm just going to quickly chip in and say you can't really make an adult-tailored version of a video game that was tailored for kids. You know what I mean? You can't imagine Super Mario Brothers with a wrench smashing up turtles and all the blood splattered all over the place. There might be problems there.
Yeah.
Peter might attack. But
Peter.
yeah, that's my opinion on it. Let's pass the mic on to the other guys so hear their opinions. Go ahead. Ashton Lux maybe might have an opinion on it. Go ahead.
I honestly think it's just about getting the right balance, isn't it? Like Sonic, like Amy said, it's like getting that perfect balance of tailoring it to this is right for the games that we played, but also here's some memes because that's what the kids want. I guess it's just getting that good balance.
I mean, I think Disney does is they drop adults' humor into their cartoons.
Yeah.
If you watch them back, you hear them and oh my god, I didn't get that as a kid. And that's because it was for the mums and dads who are watching as well, right? So yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to do things like that. I didn't see as much of that in Sonic because I don't think they needed it. It was just funny generally, right? So Viking, I'm gonna pass it over to you. Is there anything else you'd like to expand on his question, Captain's question?
You know, it's a hit and miss for me because you know, Super Mario is still pretty prevalent today. You know, there's Super Mario Maker 2 just came out maybe like a year ago, and you know, the people that, you know, our generation that grew up with Mario, you know, are coming back to Mario after all those like weird 3D ones that they came out with, and you know, so but there's also a lot of kids that are playing it, so like Ashton said, they're gonna need some sort of balance, I think. But making animated is probably the best idea. You know,
yeah, absolutely. I think one of the reasons animated is it's just easier to do because nowadays computer generated things are. Good question from Josh. We'll come to that. So when it comes to these video game adaptations, it was risky to make Sonic a live action and make him a CGI character. That was risky, right? But it played off very well, and they leaned a lot on Jim. I don't think they needed to lean as much on Jim, but it was a good safe call for people who haven't played Sonic, right? And somebody just mentioned here one quick one where Angry Birds, right? I think that's the only mobile game that's been turned into a movie, and it actually worked. They made 2 of them, and it kind of worked. I enjoyed the first one. The humor was actually just on point. And having said that, they've made 2 of those, so I'm hoping they're not going to make Candy Crush into a goddamn movie like they did the Smiley movie or something like that. There are limits, Hollywood. There are limits. But we bring it over to Josh's question. Josh's question there. What did you guys think about Ready Player One?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I never watched.
What is wrong with you, Amy? You don't watch these movies. How are you in this particular episode? Go on.
No, it was I don't know what it was. It was just watching the trailers. It looked interesting, but there was something missing for me. I think there just wasn't a lot of. Nothing really grabbed my attention, I think. Okay. So that was the only problem I had. Like visually, it looked great, but
watch it tonight and then come back.
Acquire it, as Viking says. Acquire it and watch it.
Yes.
So, I mean, the only thing that got me Ready Player One, the CGI was great. When I found out Steven Spielberg was doing it, I had to watch it. Full stop. Because, like I said, movies comes to me first, even more than video games. Even though I game more, movies is king for me. I was brought up on them, so that's what made it for me. That's interesting. I mean, with Ready Player One, I think my issue with Ready Player One, which would be resolved had they made the sequel, because apparently there's a second book that was written on it, is that the gaming notations were from the 80s and not that many from the 90s. So a lot of it was relation to 80 gaming games and callbacks, and there's a word I'm missing, but you guys know what I mean, basically, right? Yeah. So the characters, even though when they went to talk about that movie, what was it? The movie that Nicolas Cage was in, and they go into that world.
Tron?
Oh,
no, not Tron.
No, you know, Dr. Sleep was the sequel for the original movie. Oh, damn! Here's Johnny, the movie where that comes from.
Oh, The Shining.
The Shining.
The Shining. Thank you, Amy. Good girl. So they had to really, even The Shining was an 80s movie, so they made all of that and ready. So it was awesome. The CGI was amazing. I was missing the callbacks. I was expecting like a Crash Bandicoot callback or something like that. That would have been hilarious. or Spyro the Dragon, just to make Amy happy. But that was my only reservation with Ready Player One. When I found out that the second book was more 90s, I'm looking forward to if they ever decide to make a second movie. That would be pretty cool.
They did have some updated stuff in the movie, I noticed. Like, they had Overwatch, they had Tracer in there,
Halo,
and I thought that was rad.
Oh yeah, they had Tracer in there. That's fair enough. But it was just like a glance. That was it, right?
Yeah.
So Mechazilla, my God, Mechagodzilla was there and just like central stage and everything like that. He's more of an 80s character than anything if you think about it. But yeah, that's an interesting way to go. And you know what? There's another movie I haven't mentioned, which is actually very risky. It was a racing game, Need for Speed, that they made into a movie, and Aaron Paul was in it.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised it didn't say bitch in the whole movie. Right?
Yeah.
But it was amazing. Did you? I mean, it's not like eye-boggling fantastic, but it was much more better than what I expected to. It was cheesy. It was right, and even the girl was making fun of the cheese as well. Why don't you just say fill up the petrol tank rather than Tango Bing Bong or something like that? It was brilliant. What did you guys watch it? What did you guys think about that?
I think with anytime I think of Most Wanted, anytime I think of Need Speed, sorry, the one that I think of Most Wanted with the blue and white BMW, and that was like the biggest thing. Was that?
Yeah, I don't recall that being in the movie. No, they didn't. They didn't highlight the cars as much. Yeah, they mentioned the cars, but it was more about the actors because they didn't. I think they just didn't want people to think cars. This is a knockoff of Fast and Furious. Cars. Yeah. Right. Which is interesting because you have that 5 minutes at the end where they actually make it look like the video game. The police put out the spikes. They have the helicopter. They crash one of the cars with a police vehicle. So they did that perfectly well. And the vehicles that they smashed, they weren't the original models. But Aaron Paul was on an interview and said the actual vehicles that got smashed in the race at the end, they were $100,000 models. Models that were $100,000 to get smashed for the movie. That's something to think about, right? That's how much dedication they put in the movie. And I think it was an awesome movie. I mean, what about you? That's Captain talking. What about you other guys? Did you see it?
I didn't.
I know Amy's going to say no.
Yeah, I thought it was really good as well. When I think Need for Speed, I think Carbon.
Yeah, okay.
My favorite, right? It was a good production. It wasn't a movie that really stuck with me, but
it was pleasantly surprising, right?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be good. To be honest, I watched it just to see.
Yeah, you kind of have to. That's the thing with us, right? We're gamers, and they made a movie. You kind of have to watch it, right?
Yeah. Ready Player One, I didn't watch either. I don't know.
It's a shame.
You know what? And I'm not even sure why. Like I saw the trailers and I'm like, yeah, that looks really good. And then it came out and I didn't even.
Yes.
I was just going to talk about Detective Pikachu because you mentioned Final Fantasy. I was going to mention a thing about Final Fantasy, and Detective Pikachu was hilarious. He's sick. He's crying and singing the song at the end. Gotta catch them all. Ryan was perfect. Ryan was a perfect cast for Pikachu.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. Ryan Reynolds is just a good, all around.
Since he's done Deadpool, he's found his element. He's found everything before was very hit and miss. Deadpool, he's found his element. He's done Deadpool 2. You don't think so?
I've been a fan of. Yeah, I've been a fan of Ryan Reynolds for a long time. Not just because he's Canadian, but just because his personality and the way he puts himself in all his roles, right?
Ryan's awesome. I don't put that against him. It's just that his films haven't done as well as they could, like they're doing now.
Green Lantern, we won't even talk about.
We don't talk about that one. And
but Deadpool was a video game technically before it was a movie.
The video game was hilarious.
It was hilarious. I was in 2013, I believe.
Yeah.
So,
we'll come to that, Caroline. Thanks a lot, Caroline. We'll bring that question there. What our favorite video game was? Video game? Yeah, based on a movie. Thanks for that. Sorry, I'm Ryan Reynolds, awesome actor overall. There's another video game coming out where he's a non-playing character.
Yeah.
Free Guy, is it called?
Free Guy.
Oh.
Yeah, Free Guy.
Awesome. He's a non-playing character, and he decides to be sentient or something like that. Basically, says, I'm sick of this crap. I'm going to do whatever I want, basically, and that's going to be awesome to see. Now, I'm going to bring it back a little bit because we're going to bring it over to the questions here. There's only seems to be one question there, guys. If you have questions, Final Fantasy. You mentioned Advent Children. There was Kingsglaive as well, which was a precursor to Final Fantasy 15. I found that awesome. There was one where Alec Baldwin was the voice of it. The Final Fantasy. what was it? Ghosts Within or some Spirit Within or something like that.
Yeah, Spirit Within.
Now, what made that movie amazing? People kind of liked it, kind of disliked it. Was that the animation? They didn't have the face capture animation, so they had to do everything by computer, and that's what made that video awesome. That movie awesome, and it didn't quite have the Final Fantasy feel. I was kind of hit and miss with that, but it's interesting how we've developed our video making techniques as well. So with that, I'm going to shut up a little bit now, pass the mic on to Captain now. What's your favorite game based on a movie? I think you've already answered that, right? The Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, there's loads of other ones. Spider-Man, you can't go wrong with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man,
Can't go wrong.
they're doing. Also, the Alien versus Predator games and the movies. Like the movies caught you, and when they done the Alien versus Predator crossover, it was like your Freddy versus Jason crossover. It was brilliant. It was something that was needed, and then they brought out the new Predator Hunting Ground. I was
just going to ask about that. Yeah, have you played it yet?
I haven't played it yet. I was tempted to buy it last week, but lockdown. Cheers. Can't get that just yet. But I'll be watching some other guys streaming it just now, and it seems pretty straightforward. I don't think there's a lot to the game. I think it's more you can either play as a Predator or you play in a 4-man team. 4-man team's got a mission to collect stuff, get out via helicopter, get to the chopper, and then Predator, your mission's simple as kill everybody. So it's a simple, straightforward game, but probably will be one of those games that you can play for hours and hours on end. But I think definitely those guys with the Lord of the Rings, hands down, that Two Towers game, you can't ever go wrong with that. And even like Shadows of Mordor and stuff like that, yeah, fair enough, there's not movies to them, but they're captivating games you can sell because Lord of the Rings based. Your Spider-Man, I don't need to talk about that. Spider-Man, if that's not Game of the Year 2019, I don't know what else. But yeah, Alien vs Predator games as well from the movies, you get captivated in them. It doesn't need to be a storyline for those kind of games because you can watch Alien vs Predator and then play the game, and it's simple. You just want to be the alien, or you want to be the predator, or be the human. It doesn't need to be a storyline. It's just a simple game as that.
Okay, I'm going to be a jackass to the other three. I'm really sorry. We're going to cut the time a little bit short, so I want you just to give a quick answer because we got Alpha will be coming in shortly because he needs to make an announcement. So your answer to that question, Amy, favorite video game based on a movie. So it's the other way around. Which video game based on a movie?
This is this is a very stupid one from when I was 7 years old. There was the Bratz Rock Angels PS2 game, and it was such dumb fun, incredible.
Oh my god!
You can't go wrong.
Oh, is the mic on? I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry.
It was one of them that was just absolute stupid fun. Like,
all right,
no
I guess girly girl kind of game, so it's stupid fun. Fair enough. We'll forgive you. You're allowed. You're a gamer girl. So it will be really great if Ashton Lux says it's his favorite game too. But
oh no, mine like horror games.
Wouldn't it be great if you just went raw right now?
Oh no, no. I'm gonna take it easy.
He goes ooh woo.
Oh no.
Covers his face and goes nani. Nani. Go ahead, buddy. Sorry, I'm just taking your shine away.
Been put in a box.
Yeah, answer the question. Video game based on a movie. Go ahead.
Horror games like Friday the 13th, like stuff like that. I love horror games. Lord of the Rings, Spider-Man. It's all kind of similar.
Awesome.
But yeah,
okay. Oh, Amy, you're not alone. Caroline says she liked the Bratz game too. Caroline Abbott. So at least you're not alone.
Yes,
the Bratz game girl. Yeah, nerdy nerds.
Okay.
Viking, your turn.
Ooh. My all-time favorite is probably Lion King because it was super difficult.
Yes, Sega Mega, right? And Genesis.
Yeah, this Super Nintendo as well.
Oh, it was on Nintendo as well. Oh, sugar.
I think there was one on PS1 or something because I remember playing that.
Yeah,
it was. I loved that as well. So
yeah, I remember the original one. It was super difficult after you got to a certain point. Same with Aladdin.
Aladdin, yeah. You have to throw the apples, and Genie comes and saves you at the end.
Yeah, yeah, those two and the Lord of the Rings as well. I'm pretty sure it's the one you're talking about. It's multiplayer, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that is definitely the one that I'm thinking of. That one was really good as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna drop off some comments quickly before I bring in the alpha. So 5 people have said Simpsons video game, which is very interesting. There was someone says the Rugrats video game. I don't know why no one's mentioned the Rugrats. She's saying Tarzan is up there as well. And all right, just a shout out to you guys as well, just for mentioning those games. So that was James Wetton there, Michael King there, Andy Mantis as well. So thanks a lot, guys, for giving your opinion about those video game adaptations of movies. We are going to wrap this up for now. So before we leave, we do have an announcement. Unfortunately, Phil isn't here to make the grandiose, sexy announcement that he did last time. You guys are just going to have to do with my mediocre voice. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the cast your glorious Alpha, Jordan Eaton. Alpha, please come into the cast.
Oh! Hello. Good evening. So, big announcement really for the Packcast more than actually Wolves related. So I'm gonna throw a question out to the panel more than anything. Bonus points. Does anybody know when Wicked Wolves was created?
May 2019, 17th.
He's 2 days off.
That sounds like a Star Trek Stargate.
I will give him that one. It was 19th of May 2019. So next week we're going to be celebrating Wicked Wolves' birthday. We're obviously celebrating that grand 1 year. There's a lot of teams that will be that form and never make the 1 year mark. That is basically the stepping stone within a gaming organisation's life. So we're going to be celebrating through Packcast. We're going to be doing a 2-hour special next week. I will be co-hosting myself. We will be getting some of the members of the old board of directors, including Zubair. We'll be talking about when we first initially started. We will also be doing a social media segment. So if you do want to ask any of the panel a question, whether it's one of the old board of directors, one of the new, all you need to do is hashtag WWGBDay. That's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, or just pop it in the comments. But 2-hour special. So that's going to be amazing. It's going to be good fun. We're going to have the new board of directors coming in, so you'll meet all 5 members of the new board of directors, including our president and chief operating officer, Mr. John Sampson. He's a bit camera shy, but he will be stepping in, and he will be on the Packcast next week. So that is quite exciting. We will be getting some of the comp guys coming in, having a nice little 5 minutes to say about Wolves, that sort of stuff. So I want it to be more open. We have 5 set people every week. Now you're going to be seeing 20, 30 plus people. So it's going to be nice in that aspect. But first of all, I want to publicly announce thank you very much to all the supporters of the last year, because it has been an amazing journey. We've had our highs, but we've had our lows as well. And amazing work to what the panel are doing and the Wolves behind the scenes as well. So I want everybody to keep that going as much as possible. But yeah, we want your questions more than anything next week. And also, we do have now a public Discord server. So if you are not a member of the Wolves, but you are a supporter of the Wolves, you can join our public Discord server. You can obviously drop a message in there, and you can play with games with any of the Wolves. If you're a Spyro fan, I know Ash, you were streaming Spyro the other day. You can always play with one of the Wolves. You can always get updates from ourselves. Our sponsors are on there as well. You link to the merch, which is on there as well. So it's all in all, we're doing well, and we're doing our bit, and we're getting out there. Our competitive side's looking decent, our content's looking decent, and our overall production from Amy and the guys is looking very well. So I just want to come in and give a big shout out to them.
If you don't mind, I'm just going to quickly Skype in that. I forgot to mention that when Amy came in, Amy was the woman responsible for making our initial trailer that we made, that released out with the voiceover, with the intro, with the wolves and everything. And she was the one who made that. We told her what to do. She got on and did it. And my God, it was bloody amazing. So props up to Amy for doing that for us. It made us look bloody awesome. Thank you for that. She's
Keep
blushing.
Going,
I run out. Tough luck. So anything else, Alpha, that you need to let us know about?
No, not really. But yeah, obviously it's been a really good podcast, guys. Thank you very much. Obviously we're going to do the standard. You can go around, you can promote your social media, you can promote your streams, whatever. We'll start with Amy. Come on, you can have the spotlight.
Ooh, cool. Well, my main one is the all Wicked Wolves stuff, so especially YouTube channel, because that's where I do most of the videos. My personal one is just Gamer Gal with an underscore in the middle. So forgot to put Amy, and that's on Instagram. So that's mainly me.
Sweet.
Cheers.
Ash?
Hi there. I'm Ashton Lux on everything. So yeah, just Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything. I'm on Twitch doing videos, so please come watch me on there, and don't forget to follow the Wolves.
Hey, I'm the Bearded Viking. You can find me on Facebook, the Bearded Viking, just like this, right here, right there.
There we go.
Thank you.
I was expecting a little smiley face, but it's
It's there. There's a smiley face.
It's unimpressed.
It's an unimpressed face.
Toothless. Let's go.
You can find me at Captain Toothless 9 over at Twitch, guys, or if you want to come and check out my Facebook page, it's Captain Toothless Gaming. Come give us a follow on both, and I'll see you all later.
Thank you very much, guys. So we're going to sound off this week. Next week, 5 o'clock, 2-hour special, 5 till 7. Make sure you are there. Make sure you're promoting. It's going to be a big celebration. So we will see you next week. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.